Welcome back. I'm Uday Pratap Singh. You're joining us on NewsX. Our big focus this hour is on the Trump presidency, which is all set to begin with a grand inauguration. Of course, Donald Trump's swearing in is very, very imminent now. Donald Trump, of course, all set now to sign more than 200 executive actions on the first day after being inaugurated as 47th President of the United States of America. These Inauguration Day orders will focus on border security, energy, reducing the HTE cost of living for American families, ending diversity, equity and inclusion programs across the federal government. Trump, who won the US presidential election in November, defeating Democrat Kamala Harris, will succeed incumbent President Joe Biden. Well, before further ado, let's quickly take a look at some of these key executive orders that our sources are telling us are on the cards immediately after Donald Trump, of course, takes charge as US President once again. So what are likely to be these priorities? So Trump's agenda, of course, is now to sign more than 200 executive orders and actions today itself. These are orders that are going to be legally binding. Other presidential directives, not legally binding as well, are expected to be issued by Donald Trump. In fact, he's given a statement as well, saying that every radical and foolish executive order of the Biden administration will be repealed within hours of when I take the oath of office. That's what the incoming president has said. So, of course, a lot of some of the Biden orders are likely to be repealed by Donald Trump as well. He's also going to be declaring a national border emergency. This is also expected. This, of course, falls under issues pertaining to immigration and the border, something that he's spoken about on numerous occasions. He's also expected to order the military to help secure the southern border of the US as well. In fact, also expected is an end policy that kept federal immigration authorities from conducting raids in churches as well as schools as well. This policy is expected to be ended by Trump. Also re-implement the Remain in Mexico policy. That's something that is expected. That's on the anvil. Also, birthright citizenship policy expected to be ended. Also, what he's expected to do is close the border on health grounds as well. So obviously tighten up the border is something expected. He's also expected to build the wall and classify drug cartels as foreign terrorist organizations too. Remember, these were all campaign promises made by Donald Trump, something that, of course, many believe did help him also win that election. Now let's talk about trade and the economy. A 10% tariff on all imports is likely under the Trump presidency. Very, very soon could be implemented. 25% tariffs on Canadian and Mexican goods also expected, and a 60% tariff on Chinese goods. This is also expected under the Trump presidency. Talking about crypto pile, well, a creation of a federal Bitcoin stockpile is expected that will serve as a permanent national asset to benefit all US citizens. So that is also something that is, of course, expected. If we talk about climate and energy, well, drill baby drill is what he's spoken about in his campaign speeches. Remove drilling restrictions offshore and on federal land is expected. Also banning of new wind projects also expected by the new US president. Cancel electric vehicle mandates is something he's expected to do. Also withdraw from the Paris Climate Agreement. Again, a big issue that, of course, will generate a lot of controversy as well, but that is also something expected under the Trump presidency. Capitol riot, as far as that incident is concerned, potentially pardon hundreds of people convicted after the 2021 US Capitol riots as well. Also, if you talk about secret documents, well, releasing of classified documents related to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy in 1963, this is something also that Trump has pledged to do. Also released classified documents related to the 1968 killings of Senator Robert Kennedy and civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr. This is also something that is expected. If you talk about the Ukraine war, well, end the conflict on day one of the presidency. That's what he's spoken about. He's also spoken about supplying Ukraine more US weapons only if it enters peace talks. Now, will this happen or not? That's something time will tell. Withdraw US from NATO alliance if member nations do not meet their financial obligations. That's also something that Donald Trump has said. Will have a lot of ripples, of course, in Europe. If we talk about TikTok, will postpone a law banning Chinese-owned social media platform TikTok. That's also something expected very, very soon. And if we talk about Greenland, Panama and Canada will take over Greenland from Denmark. That's something also he said. Make Canada the 51st state of the United States. Now, whether, of course, these things happen or not, that only time will tell. But remember, these are all pledges that Donald Trump has made, some being taken with a pinch of salt, some he's actually going to be acting upon. Rename the Gulf of Mexico and Denali, reclaim Panama Canal after US returned it to the Panamanian government. Also use the military to gain control of Greenland and the Panama Canal. Again, that's something that he's, of course, been posting on his social media platforms too. DOGE operate the Department of Government Efficiency as an advisory body. Remember, some key people in charge of this, and Donald Trump, of course, expected to power it. DOGE will provide guidance to the White House on spending cuts as well, something needed to fix the economy. Also, transgender women in sports, bar transgender women from competing in women's sports. That's also something expected under the Trump presidency. Cuba and Venezuela undo Biden's decision to remove Cuba from the US list of state sponsors of terrorism and reinstate sanctions against Venezuela, things that he's pledged to do as well. Diversity, equity, inclusivity. Dissolve policies designed to support women and racial minorities. Also ban funding for schools that teach critical race theory. Also forbid federal funding going to schools or other institutions that have DEI programs. That's expected too. Abortion, again another contentious issue. Reinstate the Mexico City policy that bans federal aid to international groups that provide abortion counseling. That's also something expected. Reinstate an abortion rule that prohibits the Title X federal health providers from mentioning abortion to patients as well.